Hello, welcome to the Ricky Stonks Show. Today we're going to talk about how conference expansion has ruined my life. So, what we got here is a really, really bad situation for NC State. Looks like we're going to miss the ACC tournament, which is a new sentence. Not something that has ever happened before, but now we have 18 teams in the ACC because we wanted to keep up with the Joneses. So we added fucking Stanford and California and SMU. And now they say there's not enough room for NC State in the ACC tournament. Well, we invented the ACC tournament. Why do you think you have an ACC tournament? Because of Everett Case in 1954. Golly. It was ridiculous. The whole point of the ACC tournament is that you can have a terrible year. You can have everything not going your way. Injuries. Maybe the coach gets sick or his back goes out. But once you get to March 7th or March 8th, the ACC tournament starts, and you got a chance to go to March Madness. All you got to do, win those games in the ACC tournament and get the automatic berth. And that's actually what happened last year. NC State had a terrible year. Lost 5 of their last 8 games. Lost their last 4 games in the regular season. And then just went on a run in the ACC tournament. That's the whole point of the ACC tournament. And then look at them go into the NCAA tournament. They win another 4 games, wind up in the Final Four. That's the beauty of March Madness. That's why we love March Madness. And now that has been taken from us. I don't understand the format anyway. Like, how come some teams only have to play 3 games and some teams have to play 5 games in 5 days? Like, that's not fair. I don't care if you had a good regular season. This isn't about the regular season. This is the ACC tournament. This is a tradition. And the tradition is every team in the conference gets to play. And you never know what's going to happen. It's part of March Madness. Now you fucked up March Madness. And for what? I don't understand why, even if you have 18 teams in the tournament, why you can't just put them all in the tournament. Stick them all in the bracket. I mean, you just rewrite the bracket. This bracket you got now makes no sense. Some teams are playing 5 games. Some teams are playing 4 games. Some teams are playing 3 games. I mean, does the 1 seed of the ACC tournament really need that much help? It's not like they care about the ACC tournament anyway. Is Duke really preparing that much to win the ACC tournament? No, I mean, Coach K was a psycho. He really liked winning the ACC tournament, but most coaches don't give a shit because it doesn't matter. Unless you're a team that had a really bad season and you need to win the ACC tournament. That's what the ACC tournament is about. Dean Smith didn't care about winning the ACC tournament. You just rest his guys and, see how it goes. If you win it, you win it. But if you don't, you get more rest for the NCAA tournament. It's not like these higher seeds. This isn't the West Coast Conference. This isn't the MAC. This isn't the Ivy League. You don't need to protect your 1 seed and give them every advantage to make sure that your best team gets a berth in the NCAA tournament. This is the ACC. This is ridiculous. What you should do is just rewrite the bracket so every team has to play 4 games. Like a Sweet 16 bracket. And then You just have the 8 and the 9, the 3 and the 14, the 6 and the 11, like your regular bracket. And then you could have a couple play-in games. Have the 17 and the 18 seed play for a chance to play against the 1 seed. And then have the teams that finished 15th and 16th battle it out for a chance to play the 2 seed. I mean, this isn't that hard. But whoever's running the ACC tournament is hell-bent on ruining my life. It's ridiculous. Anyways, some people might say that it's not really the ACC or the conference expansion that's ruining my life. They might say maybe it's Kevin Keatts that's ruining your life because, after all, maybe you just shouldn't lose 9 games in a row. Maybe if you had won more than 3 games since Christmas, you wouldn't have to worry about missing the ACC tournament. And you know what? Maybe there's something to that. I do not understand what Kevin Keatts is doing, okay? Last year, changed the strategy in the ACC tournament, started playing a couple big guys at the same time, and guess what? It went really well. Play DJ Burns at the 5, play Mohamed Diarra at the 4. Look who's getting a bunch of rebounds now and extra possessions. I mean, the biggest factors in last year's run were Michael O'Connell's sudden ability to hit jump shots and Mohamed Diarra's insane run of double-doubles during Ramadan. I mean, that was ridiculous. But he wouldn't have had that opportunity if we were playing a lineup like NC State's playing this year, where no longer do you have a 6'10" guy at the power forward position getting 8 rebounds a game. Now you got the 6'6" Dontrez Styles, who doesn't really pass the ball, and it's about 5 rebounds a game. I mean, what are you doing, Keatts? What are you doing? Remember having an inside presence? Remember those connections between DJ Burns and Mohamed Diarra in the lane, where Burns draws the double team and then Diarra is left open by the rim? And I mean, you saw what that could do for you. It got you all the way to the ACC championship. You put up a banner. You got all the way to the Final Four, and you put up another banner. And then the off season comes, and you're like, hey, what if we got 8 combo guards and maybe played like 1 big man? It's like, dude, that's what you did for the first 7 seasons, and it didn't work, remember? What are you thinking, Kevin Keatts? Anyways, a lot of people think that Kevin Keatts should be fired, but Kevin Keatts did get us to the Final Four last year. I mean, that hadn't happened since 1983. So you can't fire him this year. You just can't. He gets a freebie. Yes, this sucks. But we're actually still not mathematically eliminated from the ACC tournament. It's probably going to happen. Notre Dame's going to have to lose their last 2 games, which could happen. Notre Dame's having a pretty bad year. After all, we beat them. That was one of those glorious wins. Seems like so long ago. January 8th, NC State beat Notre Dame. Oh, that was great. Hard to believe that happened. Because, I mean, so many of these losses have been blowouts. This week you got State had just beaten Wake Forest. Wow, hard to believe that happened. So then you follow that up with a loss to the sorry Syracuse team and then blown out by Georgia Tech by 25. I mean, what? What is this team? I mean, you got a lot of guards. Marcus Hill, not too bad. Jaden Taylor, could be worse. Dontrez Styles is a guard. He's not a power forward. You can't run the offense through this guy because he doesn't ever pass the ball. Ben Middlebrooks. I mean, Middlebrooks was good as a power forward. He was good as a 6th man. He's not good as a starting center. He's not a center. Brandon Huntley Hatfield, also not really a center. I mean, you wouldn't try and play hockey without a goalie. Why are you trying to play basketball without a center, without a power forward, without a small forward? You're just throwing a bunch of guards out there. And none of them get playing time, so then you got like 4 or 5 guys that are going to transfer out at the end of the year. I mean, Bryce Hurd, haven't heard much from him. Dennis Parker Jr., he can't be happy. Paul McNeil. I mean, this dude scored 71 points in a high school game and then came in and didn't get playing time until last week of the season. Breon Pass, poor dude has been buried on the bench his entire career. Trey Parker, dude can hit threes, but then, he got that one chance and missed a few shots and Keats took him back out. I do not understand the loyalty to... Well, I understand Michael O'Connell. He's the only point guard you have, but Jaden Taylor? Really? Is this as good as it gets? Marcus Hill? He'd be all right coming off the bench. I don't understand why you don't just play... Why didn't you go get another guy like DJ Burns? A guy that can play with his back to the basket, pass the ball. That's how you win championships. Anyways, no, I don't think Kevin Keats should be fired. He got us to the Final Four. He gave NC State fans the best month of our life last year. I mean, not all of us were around for 1983. My earliest memories of NC State are getting clobbered in the ACC championship by Duke in 2002. And then that meltdown in 2003. I never thought we would win an ACC championship. I thought I would just die, and maybe it would happen after that, but probably not. Anyways, conference expansion has ruined my life. On to the next team. Wake Forest, not doing too good. Really struggling here the last few weeks. I mean, after that loss to NC State, you can't be feeling good when you lose to NC State. I mean, what are you doing? You got Hunter Salas, and that's your guy. Cameron Hildreth, good as a third or fourth option. Efton Reed, not bad. This team isn't bad. So I don't understand how they lost to NC State. I also don't understand how they lost to Virginia. 75-83. I mean, I just don't really understand Steve Forbes' strategy. Seems like he just brings in a point guard from the portal to go nuts every year, and that he goes, "You're in charge, Boopy Miller." Anyways, should Steve Forbes be fired? It really depends on what you want out of your program at Wake Forest at this point. I mean, Dino Gaudio was fired after the 2010 season for a lack of postseason success. And that guy had more postseason success than Steve Forbes, as far as I know. I mean, it looks like Wake Forest hasn't even made the tournament under Steve Forbes. Is that right? Ever since they stopped respecting our conference. I mean, they should have made it 2022, 13-7 ACC record. Should have made it last year with the 11-9, but They just don't respect the ACC anymore. It's awful. What happened to the ACC? Well, you let in Georgia Tech in 1979. That didn't seem too bad at first. Cremins, pretty good coach. Lethal Weapon 3, Dennis Scott, Kenny Anderson, Brian Oliver. Paul Hewitt had a couple good years there with B.J. Elder, Will Bynum, Luke Schenser, Anthony McHenry, Jarrett Jack. But then you let in Florida State in 1991. And that really had a lot of people scratching their heads. What the hell do we need Florida State for? It's football. So they can kick our ass in football. It's all about money. Somehow getting your ass kicked in football by Florida State makes the conference a lot of money. Why is this about money? These are schools. Why do schools have to make money? Aren't you publicly funded? Anyway, should Steve Forbes be fired? No, I don't think so. I don't think you're getting better at this point. I mean, things are not going good for these ACC schools. I mean, are you going to be able to do better than winning 20 games in the year? I mean, 21-14 record. I mean, Skip Prosser ain't walking through that door. Dave Odom neither. Wake Forest is a historically good program, but ever since you fired Gaudio, I mean, Jeff Bzdelik tanked this team. Danny Manning also tanked the team. You got one tournament appearance in the past 15 years since you fired Gaudio. I mean, you should want better. You should want better than that. But are you going to get better? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe you should fire Forbes. He hasn't gotten you to the tournament a single time. I mean, that's pretty bad. Anyways, let's move on. North Carolina. They just needed to play that game against NC State, and now all of a sudden, they're great. Just really needed that NC State game to get right. Now all of a sudden, Jalen Withers is hitting threes. And boom, you're a different game. Different team. Drake Powell with a 3. Looks pretty good playing small forward. Dude's hitting his shots from the corner. Getting some rebounds. Playing defense. Van Allen Lubin. Now that he's playing center. Well, now that he's able to hold on to the ball a little better. This team is scary now. Elliot Cadeau can do what he needs to do, which is not shooting threes. RJ Davis, still going a bit nuts, but it's fine to have one guy who goes a little bit nuts. Maybe try and keep it under 15 shots a game. You've shortened the rotation. Jackson, Trimble, and Washington coming off the bench. This team is scary. This team could beat Duke. Will they? Maybe. Although Duke is looking pretty freaking good right now. When was the last time Duke lost? Oh yeah, that game against Clemson. Where Cooper Flagg slipped on the wet spot that they didn't clean up during the timeout. Well, that's the only loss since Thanksgiving for Duke. That is terrifying. And most of these have been blowouts. 100 against 65 against Florida State. Beat Miami 97-60. Beat Illinois by 43. Yeah, this is terrifying, but team's still relatively inexperienced. Your best two players are freshmen, Cooper Flagg and Con the Nipple. That's not good in the tournament. You don't want to rely on freshmen. You can only get so far with those guys. I know you didn't win it in 2015, but hard to count on that happening again. Tyrese Proctor is a junior, but he kind of sucks. I'm not scared of that guy. Malwalk is a center, freshman. Isaiah Evans, freshman. Nongba's a freshman. Carolina could beat this team. That's going to be a good game. Should John Shire be fired? I mean, no. Nobody's asking for that guy to be fired. Should Hubert Davis be fired? No. No, he's got them playing good now. All you need to do is get that power forward to start shooting threes and making them, and looks like 2022 all over again. But the real issue is conference expansion has ruined my life. I mean, it's March. It's been a long winter. And we just look forward to this all year. The true basketball diehards. As soon as March Madness from last year, as soon as the shine wears off and we start to accept that basketball is over, we're looking forward to the next year. We're looking forward to that hope. That first week in March, whenever the ACC tournament comes around, and no matter how bad things have been, you got a chance to turn it all around. And then it's springtime, and the leaves start coming out. It gets a little warmer. See the sun. But that doesn't matter without March Madness. If your team doesn't even get to play in March Madness, what's the fucking point? Pulled in Florida State in 1991, That didn't look like a great move. Pat Kennedy, not a great coach. Sam Cassell was pretty much all there was to write home about. I guess Bob Sura was pretty good, but Leonard Hamilton took a while to get going. Off and on. Mostly was cellar dwellers until about 2012. The team started really doing pretty good, but the real mistake was in 2004, whenever we let in, oh my gosh, Boston College? What the hell was that? That team has contributed jack shit to the ACC. Football-wise, I think they were supposed to be good. Pretty good with Matt Ryan, but they haven't done anything in the past 15 years. Basketball? They don't care about basketball up there. Frickin' Yankees. Virginia Tech. I mean, I just don't care about Virginia Tech. It's the whole thing about these conferences is they were based on local rivalries. Maryland, about a 4-hour drive from Raleigh, North Carolina, up in College Park. We hated them. I still hate them. They haven't been in the conference for 15 years. And still, I hate them because what they did to Phillip Rivers in 2003 and 2002 and 2001. He never was able to beat Maryland in his 4 years. I still remember that senior day, him holding up his jersey framed at the beginning of the day, celebrating. They look so good in those red uniforms. And then Maryland won on a freaking field goal again. And they argued with Phillip Rivers. At the time, I thought, those guys are jerks. But, Phil was probably just being a little mouthy. I mean, we saw his career in the NFL. But still, I hate Maryland. Boston College? I don't hate Boston College. I don't give a shit about Boston College. I'm never going to meet anybody who goes to Boston College. It's all the way up in Boston, right? And then Miami? The football team was all right for a while. I guess last year they had a good year. But the basketball team? They've had like 2 or 3 good seasons in the 20 years they've been in the conference. That one year with Jack McClinton, 2013, I think it was, whenever they had Shane Larkin, Reggie Johnson. That was a pretty good team. Larinaga was a good coach. Got him to the Elite Eight a couple years ago, but now he's out of there. All the coaches are just leaving. Tony Bennett's gone. Mike Krzyzewski's gone. Roy Williams is gone. Larinaga quit on his team in the middle of the season. Leonard Hamilton apparently didn't pay the players, which used to be something you're supposed to not pay the players, but now that you're supposed to pay the players, apparently he's getting in trouble, and he's about to leave. Rick Pitino, yeah, he should not have arranged those sex parties for the players and gotten the strippers. That was a mistake. Jim Boeheim, I don't know what happened to him. That still confuses me. But that dude was annoying. Pretty good coach, though. Got his team to the Final Four a couple times. Won that championship in 2003. But that was before the ACC. Mike Bray, gone. Buzz Williams, gone. Now Pittsburgh got rid of Jamie Dixon, but now Jeff Capel is supposedly one of the longest tenured coaches in the ACC. I mean, what does that say? Your coaches with the most experience now are Capel, Brad Brownell at Clemson, and Kevin Keatts. I mean, this is sad. And why is it like this? The ACC doesn't have money for coaches because football makes more money, and so now all the good coaches are going to the SEC. So what does that leave us with? The ACC is just never going to be good again? I mean, what is the end game? Two big super conferences? I mean, the other element of this is the conference expansion. I mean, you professionalize the sport. You got NIL and the transfer portal. There's a few different elements here. The paying of the players, that is not great. These guys do not really give a shit about the team anymore. You got guys on your team who just want to shoot the ball and try and improve their personal draft stock. And you got guys who are just going to the highest bidder to make money for a year. I mean, you see the results of that. You can tell who the guys are that don't care about the team. Terquavion Smith. The transfer portal, you got to get rid of that. But now that these guys aren't amateurs anymore, you can't legally restrict them from going from one team to the other or getting paid as much money as someone's going to offer to pay them. So is the answer that we have to de-professionalize the game, make it back into an amateur sport? How would we do that? Because we got to do something. You can't just keep expanding the conferences while you're ruining the rivalries, and the players don't care. They hop from one team to the other faster than NBA players. The game's getting all fucked up. You got to do something. Can we make it back into amateur status? I mean, it wasn't that unfair before. The only thing that was unfair is that these TV networks were profiting so much from these players that, and there was an element of exploitation. But what if the TV networks weren't making money? Then could we go back to just giving these players their scholarship to school in exchange for playing basketball? Because these are schools, after all. It's supposed to be about schools. You go to school with this guy, he's playing on the basketball team, you're playing in the marching band, whatever. Can we stop broadcasting games on these major television networks? Can we get... I mean, it's not fair for people to be making money off of these players while the players don't make money. So, can we just have nobody making money off of this? I know that sounds crazy in this country, but this new version of basketball sucks. This is bullshit. You gotta get rid of the one and done, first of all. It's freshmen that just show up for 1 year and then go straight to the NBA. What the hell is the point of that? I mean, that had us jacked up early on. Greg Oden, Kevin Durant. Even before that, Luol Deng, Corey Maggette. I mean, the whole point of college basketball is that you get to know these guys, and they go to school for 4 years, and they build rivalries, and they build camaraderie, and they build that team chemistry, and they know each other. They know what the other guy's going to do before he does it. It's about teams. We got to get rid of the one and done. You can't be coming to school for 1 year, 1 semester, Kyrie Irving. You don't go to class, obviously, and then you go straight to the NBA. Just let them go to the NBA. Some guys don't need to be in college. It's not like Kyrie Irving learned anything anyway. Stop broadcasting the games on these major television networks if they are going to be profiting from it. Because then the players need to profit, and then you open up a whole Pandora's box where the players are basically just NBA players without contracts. So they're going from one team to the next, 1 year, next year. I mean, what's to stop them from transferring within the year? I mean, we got a guy at NC State that went to Carolina. Dontrez Styles is a Tar Heel. But then he wanted more playing time so he could showcase how good he is. So he went to Georgetown. And then he was like, oh, I'm not that good here. Maybe it's because of Georgetown. I'm going to go back to Raleigh. Maybe they'll let me show how good I am. And you're still not that good. So maybe we got to bring back Raycom Sports. Turn it into a non-profit. I don't know. But conference expansion is ruining my life. You fucked up the ACC tournament. Got rid of the ACC Cinderella stories. That was so great about last year. NC State, 5 games in 5 days. The best run of all time in college basketball. Here we are, 360 days later. You don't even get to go to the ACC tournament anymore. But we invented the ACC tournament. This was Everett Case's idea in 1954. We won the championship. 1970, NC State won the championship. Got to go to the tournament. Remember 1971? South Carolina knocked Carolina out of the ACC tournament. North Carolina had to go to the NIT. Remember 1973? David Thompson, Tommy Burleson took down Maryland and ruined Maryland's season. Nobody got to go to the March Madness that year because we were on probation because of some bullshit fake tryout. David Thompson wasn't a tryout. He was already on the team. Anyways, 1974, one of the greatest games of all time. Maybe the greatest game of all time. Overtime, 103-100, NC State over Maryland. Maryland loses the game, and they're crying on the floor, dude. I mean, they didn't get to go to the tournament. That was a great Maryland team. I mean, that was back when only one bid got to go to the tournament. But still, the teams that get that automatic bid, 1983. I mean, that one doesn't really count because NC State was probably going to get into the tournament anyway. But 1987, Valvano's second miracle run. Team was 6-8 in the conference. was probably going to make the tournament, but maybe not. Then they won 3 games in 3 days. Got to go to the NCAA tournament. 2022, Virginia Tech. Mike Young leads his team 4 games in 4 days to win the automatic berth. That team wasn't going to go to March Madness if they didn't win the ACC tournament. And, of course, last year, the best run of all time. I mean, just the juxtaposition of going from the best story in college basketball history, NC State last year, to now get fucked. You know, you didn't do good in the regular season. Well, too bad. Your season's over. I mean, NC State's season was basically over in February. How the hell are we supposed to get through this without our fucking March Madness and our ACC tournament? Where is the hope? What happens to basketball? Anyways, what else do we have going on? Some teams from the SEC. Probably top 5 teams. I mean, the richest teams get the best basketball players now. Is that how this works? Teams that make the most off of football. So we can't have a basketball conference anymore? That sucks. I mean, you fucked up the game. Well, anyways, I guess hope isn't dead. NC State still has a 5% chance, according to this, according to something I read. NC State has a 5% chance to make it to the ACC tournament. So hope is not lost. Guess the ACC's got Duke and Clemson and Louisville having a pretty good year under Pat Kelsey. Good for him. That's probably who Wake Forest should have hired, because that dude was on your coaching staff under Skip Prosser. Honestly, how did you let that guy get away? In 2010, whenever you fired Dino Gaudio, he was an associate coach over at Xavier. Tell him to come back. What the hell are you doing hiring Jeff Bzdelik? That's got to be the worst coaching move any of these administrations have made. You fired Dino Gaudio and hired Jeff Bzdelik? Dude wasn't even a good NBA coach. Talk about the anti-Skip Prosser. Nobody was excited to go watch Jeff Bzdelik coach. Gosh. That was a huge mistake. SMU is 4th in the conference. What the hell is SMU doing in the Atlantic Coast Conference? It's all about money. For who? Who's making all this money? The TV networks? The players now? Is that any of that money connected? I mean, they're getting paid by the boosters and alumni, but it's not really a fair profit-sharing format. Wake Forest down here at 5th in the conference. Now all of a sudden, I mean, you got the team with a 12-6 conference record is maybe not going to make the tournament. Gosh, what has happened to the ACC? I mean, this is a terrible thing they've done to our conference. For some of us, March Madness is all we have. And you've taken that away from us. We need to rise up and fight back. We need to tell them this is not okay. You can't kick teams out of the ACC tournament. I don't even know what to say about that. Sure, Kevin Keatts, the guy is making some really dumb coaching decisions. Let's play Dontrez Styles at the power forward position. This guy is a guard. He's a shooting guard. He's not a power forward. Jaden Taylor is a shooting guard, not a small forward. I mean, the list goes on. He wants to play a bunch of little guys, and they can't even make shots. So what are you doing? Things are not good in ACC basketball. Anyways, that's all we got. I hope that you are just as mad as I am. Because I am so mad. Thank you for listening to this rant. Hope you have a better week. Hopefully some kind of miracle happens. Goodbye.